So I pretty much exclusively taught public school except for 2 years in Brazil
Whoa.
at an American school.
Yeah.
And I think pluralism is super important. We have public schools to ensure that we have a democracy,
Yeah.
and that's why they're under attack.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's a little scary right now for public schooling.
Yeah, it's very scary. It's been scary since about 2011
Yeah.
with Act 10.
Well, that's what I mean. I had some conversations with people in the last few months, especially with everything that the current administration was promising to do and now has done.
Yeah.
In cutting, public school stuff, or they would say, well, they're not cutting it; they're just going to leave it up to the states, which is a classic argument. There was some other war, I think, that was fought over that, leaving
Yeah.
something to the states.
Right.
So I always thought that's interesting, especially, and I remember speaking to this person about it. They're like, oh, it's going to be up to the state now, so Wisconsin will get to decide. And I'm like, yeah, but brother, we're in Wisconsin, who has historically been attacking public schools and teachers specifically. Like, I don't even remember what was actually at stake because I was in school at the time, a child, but I remember people's parents that were teachers or friends that my parents that were teachers going to the Capitol because I think it was Scott Walker or whatever was trying to axe hella teachers and their pay and their benefits and all this stuff. So I'm like,
So the reason why Scott Walker went after public school teachers is we were one of the top 3 contributors in Obama's campaign. So they wanted to make damn sure another black man didn't make it to the highest office again.
wow, yeah, that's fucked. Not great.
And the vouchers, I've also worked for Rethinking Schools, Fratney Street School. It's a great publication you can read.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Yes.
Rethinking Schools.
Rethinking Schools right here at La Escuela Fratney. So I used to do editing for that magazine. 75% of the vouchers were already going to kids. We're going to kids who are already enrolled in these private schools, private and parochial.
Really?
So it wasn't helping anybody else.
Yeah.
The people who could already afford them. And now we have these pop-ups of anybody can start a school. Anyone can homeschool.
Yeah.
There's no litmus test to schooling. I don't call homeschooling schooling. I call it homing. Because school is 2 parts, academic and social.
Yeah.
There's nothing democratic about homing your kid or sending them to a private or parochial school.
Okay. Yeah. There's gonna be some homeschooling moms are gonna be pissed hearing that. But
They can come at me.
yeah.
No, seriously. No, there's even there's a woman who calls it unschooling, and I can talk about that to the, cows come home too. People like that, public school teachers, are grateful that they go because they're such a pain in the ass for us as teachers. Also, private parochial schools do not have to take every child. So what my daughter has special needs. She cannot read or write. She's 29. She was born in a slum of Brazil, and she contracted bacterial meningitis, and she has lesions on the left side of her brain, what make it impossible for her to read or write.
Yeah.
No private school would ever take her because she's too expensive.
Yeah. That's just, I feel like that's just exclusionary for the sake of being exclusionary. I mean, I guess, and for money, it's money.
It's just mean.
Yeah, cruel.
Yeah. You can watch right now. My daughter is actually enjoying herself at a camp. Crip Camp is a great film on Netflix made by the Obamas about the disability rights movement. And it's what we need to be watching right now because as people are getting attacked.
Yeah, I was going to say specifically, they're almost being targeted. It's very, and I know people get weird when you jump the gun and go, oh, this is the playbook of that other guy with the weird mustache from years and years ago. But that's one of the things that
Eugenics.
was famous for was eugenics.
It's fascism.
Yeah, that's scary.
It is scary.
What are some things that people maybe don't know that you as a public school teacher have to deal with in specifically
I am no
school?
longer a public school teacher.
Not anymore. When you were, what's something
Yeah.
that because you watch a show like Parks and Rec where it shows how city government, how whack city government can be. What's the equivalent of that, the kind of day-to-day weirdness that you have to deal with, whether it's with other staff or if it's with parents, or the kids even, as a public school teacher?
So I have to say, my students were never the problem.
Yeah.
My parents were never the problem. Other teachers, not so much the problem. The problem was the admin. Management is not your friend. I literally was one of the most popular teachers at my school. I have 2 children in my own household. One who's got special needs, one who graduated from an Ivy League.
Yeah.
I know how to teach.
Yeah.
But a man with 3 years teaching experience to my 27 labeled me a struggling teacher. And he was able then to put me on an improvement plan. On my improvement plan, it says I didn't have a culture of learning in my classroom because a kid cracked a joke. I dismissed this one child, and I'm still friends with his mom on Facebook.
Yeah.
I dismissed him from a phonics group because he was acting up, of 4 boys, whatever, 4 kids. And he said, "See ya, people." And
that's enough
on
to
my
put you on an improvement plan?
Yeah, that's on my improvement plan, which I signed in crayon. I'll just say that.
That's hilarious. So what? Okay, for people that are ignorant to it, what is an improvement plan for teachers?
So it comes from the corporate world. So there's been this big corporatization of public education.
Yeah.
Brand management, even one of my principals talked about. So what happens is the whole goal of an administrator is to make a teacher's life so miserable that they actually quit, because termination hearings are super expensive and inevitably districts lose, or at least they used to.
Yeah.
So what they do is they put a teacher on an improvement plan for even a joke, and then that bullying policy of the district is null and void. So that makes the administrators free to bully you, and that's exactly what happened to me. It's called harassing supervision. In fact, they had to
Whoa.
call in a second principal because the first guy couldn't get rid of me.
Wow.
Yeah. So in any district, if you complain of a grievance about bullying, the way you've been treated, that's not heard by an outside agency. That's heard by HR. HR is for management.
Yeah.
So all teachers are sitting ducks.
Yeah. Well, that's frustrating. I mean, that kind of leads me. So something that I've seen and heard a lot more about recently, specifically with admin in public schools, is like this phenomenon where they don't want to pay teachers. Obviously, we never want to pay teachers. But then even the teachers that have been there long enough, where now they maybe would be making a little bit more money than someone fresh out of college, they do what they can to push those people out. And then once they get them out, they're just settling for college graduates that maybe don't even have a teaching degree or teaching certifications, and they're hiring them on as subs, and then they do them as a long-term sub.
Yeah, so I think a big part of it is financial. I think another part of it, I'm actually doing better financially now than I did when I was teaching.
Yeah.
Because I put so much into my craft.
Yeah.
You know, so part of it is financials, and I will tell you, I am in a public school where I volunteer, and the teachers tell me, yeah, we are trying to teach the kids, but babysitting the uncertified staff, you know.
Yeah.
And right now in Madison, there's like over 300 positions not filled.
Wow, that's terrible.
2 teachers left East High School mid-year. That never happens.
Yeah.
And it's because of the climate.
Really?
Yeah, and that's Madison, Wisconsin, where there's plenty of wealth.
Yeah. Why
Imagine Milwaukee.
Why? So I mean, obviously the financial.
Yeah.
Why else are they being so hard, trying to make teachers' lives miserable? Like, why do they try to make you jump through these hoops? Like, what beef does admin find typically with different teachers?
Well, I think you'd have to read the book, Dealing with Difficult Teachers. It's now in its 3rd edition. I think it's a power trip.
This is a real book?
Yeah, it's a real book.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, it's called Dealing with Difficult Teachers. It's the principal's playbook for getting rid of teachers. I think it's a power trip, and I'll tell you why I think it's a power trip. Because some of the people in management, I found out some things they were doing even on school grounds that would shock you. Wow. And when I found those things out, I was told these things. I'm not going to spread rumors or anything, but my first thought was, I was like, my God, how power drunk are you that you're willing to jeopardize your career?
Yeah.
That's power drunk.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of stuff? I mean, you don't have to get into details. What kind of stuff are we talking about? Like, Like sexual misconduct? Oh yeah, wow. That's terrible.
Not with children,
Yeah.
although that's happened as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
literally that brazen.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. And what's the thing with principal? So how do you become a principal? Is that you have to teach for at least a year or something?
I don't know. I never went into, and I started a program, excuse me, in grad school, but I'm a practitioner.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be in management. I think there's a number of ways,
Yeah.
like Edgewood College, UW is where a lot of people go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just decide to go that route as opposed to becoming an actual teacher. I feel like
No, I think you have to teach first.
Okay. I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope that at least some. I wonder how you become you become a trader like that. You know, if you're a teacher and then you go, oh, I'm gonna switch up on the day ones.
Well, I think it depends on the individual person, but I will say it's power trippers,
Yeah.
big time power trippers.
Thanks for watching that last video, guys. Click right over here to see the episode in its entirety. Or click over here to subscribe and check out all the other cool shit we have on the channel. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do it.